hello, it's cold. That would be the negative half of the instinctive part of the brain and the emotional part of it. But today it's time to talk about the sex center. There's a seven-foldedness you may have noticed in life, and a human being is no exception to that. As in correct work, it should have 7 functioning centers. But because of uninterest and lack of information, we only use 5 of them most of the time. The other 2 are functioning, but we are disconnected from them. And only in moments of extreme danger, for example, do we have access to them. The reptile brain, who is the man behind the curtain, the real controller of the human being and all of us on the planet, allows us a little bit of the finer energy that it keeps just in case. And so we can experience the higher brains for a little while. Reproduction is one of our biggest drives, and therefore the wiring in us that leads to it is pretty strong. Very thick wires compared to some other centers where it'd be quite thin wires. The sex brain has also a hidden function, and that is that it can provide the energy to fire up or ignite the higher centers with correct knowledge and being. But in general, its purpose is to do the bidding of nature and to reproduce our DNA and pass it on to other generations. So in one sense, we are kind of divided beings in the sense that we need, often until we come to another level of being, we need a partner in order to fulfill ourselves, to feel whole. In a human, the sex brain is located down at the base of the spine and in proximity to the sex organs. It's part of its hidden meaning is related to what's called Kundalini, which may simply be the sex energy, and bringing it up to the Sahasrara chakra, 1,000-petal lotus on the top of the head, as opposed to having it down in the lower centers most of the time. There's an old story that we have a wonderful, beautiful mansion with upstairs rooms full of treasure and beauty, but that we prefer to spend most of the time in the cellar and downstairs in the lower rooms. In Indian terminology, the Muladhara chakra or root chakra is where the Kundalini serpent supposedly lies coiled up. Nice imagery. And there is a very reptilian element to it, so the snake is quite fitting. Also, different people from different cultures all over the world, when they achieve higher states, often report seeing a serpent. And if you think of it, if you were to remove our arms and legs, we are practically a serpent anyway. The Svadhisthana chakra in Indian terminology would do the choosing, the searching for a partner. And this corresponds to the instinctive center as being the one which would want to reproduce, to have sex, and the sex center would be the one which actually does the choosing. And it does this choosing based upon a framework. Again, in terms of sevenfoldness, there are 7 types of human being based on their predominant endocrine gland. And if you take, for example, 7 different drinks, or kinds of alcohol, out of those basic 7, you can make countless different cocktails. The same way with the human being, out of these 7 basic endocrine types, we can make the vast number of different types that we see in the world around us. I'll discuss types further in forthcoming videos. But for now, we say we have 7 basic types. We have 7 endocrine glands. If we take one of them out of the picture because it is attracted to and attracted by all of the other types, and to all of the other types, that leaves 6. And those remaining 6 form 3 pairs of what's called maximum attraction. And this functions in such a way that, for example, our best friends are likely to have been the same type as us or the opposite type to us. And the same with most of our partners. We'll be somewhere close to this kind of framework. Often we could be with the next type on a progression to us, which could work as well. But if you think, for example, when you went to school, there were people who you were drawn to and other people whose faces you couldn't even begin to see. They were like clouded over in some way. And most of your partners and the people you're attracted to will follow the same scheme. Now, we think that we're doing sex or having sex for our benefit and it's such great fun. But in reality, it's the instinctive brain wanting to reproduce our DNA and pass it on into the future. And so we're doing work for nature under the illusion that we're doing all of the choosing. And our reward for doing nature's work is pretty high reward in terms of like the natural enjoyments of a human being. But in reality, we're being coerced without realizing it. By knowing this, we can have the best of both worlds, if we so desire. We can have sex, have children, and also work towards establishing a connection with our higher centers, which I'll discuss in another video coming up. When eyes, I say eyes because the centers have all different wishes and they're like little people, each saying, I want this, I want that, I want to go for a run from the moving brain. I want to eat something from the instinctive brain. I want to see such and such a person from the emotional one. I'd like to find out more about this idea from the intellectual one. I want to have sex. Loud voice from the sex center. The sex energy is like a powerful river, and we tend to get carried away by it if we begin to dip our toes in it. Each brain has different characters in it which want their specific thing, and sometimes they're kind of fighting it out between them as to who gets to occupy the ruling seat for a little while. I think that'll be enough for now in relation to the sex center. So good luck again until next time. Bye for now.